His words from earlier still hung heavy in the air. An open relationship? Adele repeated for what felt like the 100th time, her voice incredulous. She took a sip of her wine, as if the liquid could dull the absurdity of the suggestion. Jason nodded, his gaze steady. Yes, babe, I'm not saying we have to, but it's something I think we should consider. Consider, she snapped. Jason, this isn't a Netflix subscription. You're asking me to invite other people into our relationship, into us. Jason sighed and leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. I'm not asking you to do anything you're not comfortable with, but think about it for a moment. Don't you feel like we've hit a wall? Like we're just existing together instead of really living? Adele bit her lip, unwilling to admit that she'd felt the same way at times. Their once fiery romance had dulled into something predictable, and while she wasn't ready to give up on them, she wasn't sure how to reignite the spark. Why can't we just fix us? She asked quietly. Why does it have to involve other people? Jason ran a hand through his hair, his frustration seeping through. Adele, I love you. That's not the issue. But I think we've gotten too comfortable. We need something to shake us out of this rut. She stared at him, her mind racing. The idea felt foreign, almost taboo, but a small part of her was curious. Could this really work? Could it bring them closer together instead of driving them apart? Let's say, hypothetically, I agree to this madness, Adele said, her tone cautious. How would it even work? What are the rules? Do we share details with each other? Do we keep it a secret? And what happens if someone gets attached? Jason hesitated before answering, clearly relieved that she hadn't flat out rejected the idea. We'd set boundaries, strict ones, no emotional attachments, no bringing anyone home, and complete honesty with each other. If either of us feels uncomfortable, we stop. No questions asked. Adele shook her head. And you think that's realistic? That we can just have fun without it affecting what we have? I don't know, Jason admitted, but isn't it worth trying? If it doesn't work, we go back to how things were. But at least we know we tried. The conversation went on for hours, each of them alternating between skepticism, curiosity, and outright fear. Adele asked him repeatedly why he'd even brought up the idea, and Jason explained how he'd read articles and watched videos of couples who claimed it had saved their relationships. I'm not saying it'll save us because I don't think we're broken, Jason clarified, but I do think it could help us find that spark again. Adele fell silent, her mind replaying the happiest moments of their relationship. The way Jason used to surprise her with handwritten notes in her lunchbox. The spontaneous trips to the beach, where they'd watch the sunset and talk about their dreams. When had they lost that magic? Finally, she spoke, her voice firm. If we're doing this, and I'm not saying we are, there need to be rules. Clear rules. And we need to communicate constantly. No secrets, no lies. No crossing boundaries. Jason nodded eagerly. Absolutely. We'll do this together as a team. Adele sighed, feeling the weight of the decision settle on her chest. All right, we'll try. But if this goes wrong, Jason, I swear. She let the sentence trail off, her eyes locking with his in a silent warning. The following days were a whirlwind of discussions and negotiations. They sat down and created a list of rules, writing them on a whiteboard they usually reserve for grocery lists. Rule 1 asterisk, no bringing anyone to their shared apartment. Rule 2 asterisk, no emotional attachments. This was purely for fun. Rule 3 asterisk, be honest about encounters. No sneaking around. Rule 4 asterisk, if either of them felt uncomfortable at any point, they would stop immediately. Though they agreed on the rules, implementing them felt surreal. Adele found herself oscillating between excitement and dread, while Jason seemed oddly at peace with their decision. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, Jason reached for her hand. Babe, we're going to be okay. I promise. This is about us, not about anyone else. She looked at him, her heart heavy with doubt. I hope you're right, Jay, because I'm not sure I can handle losing you. Little did she know, this decision would set them on a path that neither of them could have predicted. The weeks following their big conversation were a blur of excitement, and anxiety. Both Jason and Adele had agreed to embark on this unconventional journey together, hoping it would reignite the passion they once shared. The air between them was thick with anticipation, but also with an underlying tension. They hadn't even fully acknowledged what it meant to be in an open relationship, yet they both dived headfirst into the experience, each carrying their own hopes and fears. Adele, though hesitant, decided to take the plunge first. She met Jack at a media event, a successful entrepreneur with a sharp suit and an easy smile. He was charismatic and oozed confidence, traits that drew her in instantly. She told herself it was just one night, one simple fling. No attachments, no emotions, just something to experience, a way to feel alive again. The night they met, Adele found herself at a rooftop bar in Kauftown, surrounded by the hum of voices and the city lights. Jack was in his element, laughing with friends, but when his eyes met hers across the crowded room, the attraction was undeniable. "I've seen you on Instagram," he said smoothly as he joined her at the bar, his voice low and inviting. "You've got a way with words." Adele smiled, intrigued. "Thank you. You're Jack, right? I read about your company in Business Weekly." Jack grinned, leaning closer. "Well, I think you might need a closer look at the man behind the business." It was playful banter at first, and Adele felt the layers of her reservations start to peel away. They talked for hours, exchanging stories about their lives, their successes, and their ambitions. Jack was charming, confident, and, for the first time in a long time, Adele felt like she was being seen. As the night wore on, the flirtation grew more intense. Adele found herself laughing louder, leaning in closer, and letting herself get lost in the chemistry between them. She told herself it was fine. This wasn't anything serious, just a one-time thing. By the end of the night, they were in a quiet corner of the bar, Jack's hand on the small of her back as he kissed her deeply. There were no doubts, no hesitations. In the heat of the moment, everything else faded away. The next morning, Adele woke up in an unfamiliar bed, Jack's scent still lingering on her skin. Her phone buzzed with text from Jason, asking how she was. She stared at the screen for a moment, guilt creeping in. This wasn't what she imagined when they made their agreement. Was she supposed to feel this? Disconnected? But as the day wore on, she pushed the feelings aside. She and Jack shared a light breakfast and parted ways with nothing more than a promise to keep in touch. But that evening, when she met Jason for dinner, she couldn't ignore the tightness in her chest. It wasn't just the physical distance between her and Jason. It was something deeper. "Did you have fun today?" Jason asked, trying to sound casual. "Yeah, it was nice," Adele replied, forcing a smile. "How about you?" "Good. Productive. I got a lot done." He paused, sensing something was off. "You okay?" Adele nodded quickly, taking a sip of her wine. "Yeah, just tired." But inside, she was anything but tired. She was conflicted. She had crossed a line, and as much as she tried to dismiss it, the reality of what she'd done hit her like a wave. Was this the spark she had been searching for? Or had she just opened Pandora's box?